we have a trade to announce, buddy. Consistent with the Dangle jinx, we had just finished recording an episode of the Steve Dangle podcast. Actually, 2. We recorded the VIP today as well. Adam is already gone. And then a huge trade happens. We even joked during the show, like, hey, imagine the Vitek Vanacek trade happens and then a bunch of big stuff. Ha, 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 ha. There's a funny joke. Funny joke! We got a huge trade between the Seattle Kraken and the Tampa Bay Lightning, and if you've been paying attention, you know that this one hurts my heart and I want to throw up. Man, it would really suck if a divisional rival got a player that I wanted for my team. And Tampa said, oh yeah, how about 2 players that you really liked? And I said, should have kept my mouth shut. The Tampa Bay Lightning acquire Yanni Gourde, who won 2 Stanley Cups with them in 2020 and in 2021. Oliver Bjorkstrand, and the most important part of this trade, a 2026 5th round pick. It's the 2 players are the most important part. Thank you, Maddie. Wow. The Lightning reacquire a player who they know they can win with. There's going to be no adjustment to the John Cooper system, right? Oliver Bjorkstrand, noted all-star Oliver Bjorkstrand, really underrated player. Man, what did Tampa have to give up for that? Like maybe a first, right? Seattle acquires a 2026 first round pick, a 2027 first round pick, a 2025 second round pick that just so happened to belong to the Toronto Maple Leafs, and forward Mikey Eyssimont. Believe me, I will be giving a Leaf fan's perspective to this in a moment, but let's just talk about the trade. I've already seen comparisons out there that this trade, the amount of picks, the sheer amount of picks involved in this trade, is just like when Tampa acquired Tanner Jeannot from the Nashville Predators for 6 picks? Okay, so do you see how that was Tanner Jeannot and you shouldn't? This is Yanni Gourde and Oliver Bjorkstrand, and you very much should. Everyone's saying Yanni Gourde is not money well spent, has a problem with their internet. Or maybe it's just a glitch with their Google, being that their Google only goes back 3 years! You didn't watch this guy in the 2020 playoff run? I understand that. It was in the summer. It was a weird time. But what about 2021? What's your excuse? Oh, that was also in the summer. It was a weird time. This dude is adrenaline and hustle and an exhausting night in general. This season, he has 17 points in 36 games. Yeah, it's not going to make you jump out of your seat. But you know why Tampa didn't have any problem giving that up to get him? They know who he is! Anytime you get someone at the trade deadline, there's always the underlying question, no matter how good the player is, can we win with this guy? Tampa already knows they can win with this guy more than once! He can play center, and if he can play center, that means he can play wing as well. You need to add something to your forecheck? There you go. You need to add a little something to everything? There you go. Dude, I love this player. I love this player. Okay, did he have the most barn-burning experience with the Seattle Kraken? Nah. Dude, he did what every successful third liner on a cup winning team does. He went somewhere else for a few years, got paid, probably a little too much. But what rarely happens in these situations is he just goes right back to the team that he won with. To me, this is not a few years ago, the Chicago Blackhawks trying to play all the hits. Let's get the band back together. No, this is just sort of a smart move. If they were really getting the band back together, they would go out and get Steven Stamkos from Nashville, which I don't think they are. Then there's Oliver Bjorkstrand, who why weren't we talking more about this guy? 37 points in 61 games this season. He's not his usual self. Last year, he scored over 0.7 points per game. He has a career high of 28 goals. He doesn't have those totals this season. 37 points in 61 games has him at about 0.6 points per game. His 16 goals in 61 games actually has him scoring at above a 25 goal pace though, which is up from his previous 2 seasons of 20 goals. What are you doing at this deadline? Do you really want to rock the boat? Yeah, sometimes you do. But who is out there giving you their franchise player this time of year? It's not often. No, you need guys who are complimentary, but like elite complementary. You're Tampa. You already have Kucherov and Braden Point and Victor Hedman and so on. Would Connor McDavid help you? Yeah. Is he available? No. How about Oliver Bjorkstrand and Yanni Gourde to play on your second and third line and just make it so that you can roll 4 lines and be everybody's worst day at their job? Yeah, no. That sounds better for the playoffs. That sounds more designed for the playoffs. Let me just give you an idea of what we're dealing with here. So the Lightning waived Cam Atkinson today and defenseman Logan Brown. Keeping that in mind, here is the lineup that the Lightning had in line rushes yesterday, according to Lightning insider Eric Erlandson. Jake Gensel, Braden Point, Nikita Kucherov. Ooh! Second line, Brandon Hagel, Anthony Cirelli, Zemgus Girgensons. So we got Team USA, Team Canada, Hart winner, Team Canada, Latvian wonder. My guess is Girgensons gets pushed down. That's where you put Bjorkstrand. Third line, Chaffee, Paul, Goncalves. Does Girgensons get pushed down to that line? Where does Yanni Gourde fit in there? My guess is he would end up on that line, but he doesn't have to because you have a 1-2-3 of Point, Cirelli, Paul. Holy crap, is Gourde going to be your fourth line center? My guess is not, but the fact that he could be is very annoying to me as a Leafs fan. Then the fourth line is Eyssimont, Glendening, Atkinson. Obviously, you lose 2 of those 3 guys. Atkinson goes on waivers and Eyssimont gets traded in this deal. On your D-core, nothing changes. Hedman, Moser, McDonough, Chernak, Lilleberg, Radish, and you got Perbix as your extra. The fact the Florida Panthers just got Seth Jones, the fact the Tampa Bay Lightning just sold the farm for 2 guys who are going to make their team way more formidable. As a Leafs fan, let me just say, Brad! They traded 2 first-round picks, Brad! Listen to me, okay? I reserve the right to change my mind. All week, I've been saying, I don't know about the Leafs trading their prospects and their 2026 first. I've been holding on to that for dear life because I want them to keep it, because what if something goes wrong and you need it? Change my mind! Set it all on fire! Throw it out the window! Have you seen what the Panthers and the Lightning are doing? Brad! Who cares about picks, Brad? They traded 6 picks for Tanner Jeannot a few years ago, and no one actually gave a damn because they were coming off of 2 Stanley Cups. Brad! Is 2 firsts and a second perhaps a little too much for these 2 players? It's Julien Brisebois. It's the Tampa Bay Lightning. If anyone has earned your benefit of the doubt, it's those guys. The Leafs do it. It's like, because let's be honest, there's a slight tinge of the assumption that they don't know what they're doing on account of they never win. What are you talking about? They're first, but the playoffs. You know I'm talking about the playoffs. And speaking of, I've been talking about winning this division in the regular season, finishing top of the division. And it's not that big a deal. It'd be nice little feather in your cap, but it's the Stanley Cup playoffs. And whoever you play in the Stanley Cup playoffs, whether you win your division or not, they're going to be a tough opponent. Whether you finish first, second, or third in the division, you're going to have to play a good team. That used to be my take on this. And I have decided that my new opinion is Brad! Winning the division in the Atlantic all of a sudden became very important because Tampa is loading up after Florida loaded up. And they still, by the way, have room to load up more. Not to put a Leafs lens on this, any Lightning fans who are watching, but I'm sure you're getting a kick out of this, aren't you? Aren't you? Frig off. This makes the Lightning deep and formidable. Depth on the Lightning is so important. Here's why. Their top line is Jake Gensel, Braden Point, and Nikita Kucherov. If you're a team playing against the Lightning for 4 to 7 games in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and you have a top pair, and maybe even a shutdown line, you gotta try to play them against. Yeah, probably those guys, right? If they do a good enough job at shutting down that line, which, good luck, not many teams have, but if they are able to do it, heavens to Betsy, you probably lose that series. With scoring throughout your lineup, Oh. And by the way, I don't know if you've been paying attention. Andrei Vasilevsky's back. Last I checked, he was tied for third or second in the NHL in save percentage. Weird that the by and large agreed upon best goalie in the world did not forget how to goalie. Most goalies are on the level of, if you're a goaltender, tend the goal. He's on the level of, if you're a goaltender, save everything, which is what he typically does in Game 6 and Game 7. If and only if you are lucky enough to get to those games against the Tampa Bay Lightning. We're sitting here nickel and diming like, can we get a fourth liner off the Blackhawks? And these guys just traded 2 firsts and a second for 2. If you're a Lightning fan, you should evaluate this trade based on how many times I just screamed Brad. If you're a Panthers fan, I think this is, we're in for a fight. If you're a Leafs fan, it's here we go again. All those picks you got, get rid of them. Oh, well, we're not going to have any picks for the future. I don't know if you noticed, all your opponents don't have any either. The difference is they don't seem as worried about it. All they want to do is win, and win now. What do you think of this trade? Is this too much? Is this exactly what Tampa needed? Is this both? And what on earth is left out there besides a need to get creative? For now, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you liked this video in Screamfest. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Friday, this studio, SDPN YouTube channel, this is the place to be for the NHL trade deadline. And oh, if your friends happen to be Brad, tell them that I said Brad.